Last Thanksgiving, my uncle pulled me aside and said, "You know, at your age, I already owned a house and had money in the bank. What's taking you so long?" And for years, I didn't have a good answer. I just felt behind, like I was doing something wrong. But then I started digging deep into the actual economics of his 20s versus mine. And what I found was not a story about me being bad with money. It was a story about how the entire economic system transformed and nobody bothered to update the rule book. Hey everyone, welcome back to KP Money Talks. And today we are going to show you exactly what have changed between your parents' economy and yours. Because once you see it, everything suddenly makes sense. Let's start with a big one. So, my uncle bought his first house in 1975. Three bedroom, decent neighborhood, nothing fancy. He tells this story like it's totally normal. "I saved up for about a year and a half, put down payment, got the house. Simple." And here's the thing, for him, it was simple. In his economy, if you had a median income job and you were disciplined about saving, you could have a down payment ready in about a year and a half. Today, that same scenario takes 7 years. Not because we are worse at saving, because housing costs relative to income has doubled. Think about that. Imagine setting a goal, working toward it, and having it 5 years extra just because of when you were born. That's 5 years of rent payments disappearing, 5 years of home prices rising faster than you can save, 5 years of feeling like you are running on a treadmill. So, when your parents say, "just save for a house like we did," they're not wrong about that strategy. They are just unaware that the timeline fundamentally has changed. What took them 18 months now takes the better part of a decade. And the housing is not the only place this happened. Okay, here's the one that actually made me angry when I learned it. My uncle's buddy worked at a gas station in the summer during his college. Just a regular summer job. Nothing special. That job paid for his entire year of tuition. One summer, full year of college, paid. I worked every summer during college. Know what my summer earnings covered? About 6 weeks of expenses. Not tuition, expenses, food, rent, books. And I was not slacking off. I was working 40 hours per week. The money just didn't stretch. Here's what happened. College costs grew about 6 times faster than wages did. So, the summer job strategy that worked perfectly for our parents became mathematically impossible for us. This is why student loan debt exploded. Not because our generation is irresponsible, because the pay as you go model broke. Imagine following a recipe that says add 1 cup of flour, but when you measure it out, 1 cup is now 6 cups. You had run out of flour, right? That's what happened with the work your way through college advice. So, if you are carrying student debt and feel guilty about it, that's not on you. The system changed the rules mid game. Here's where the things get really weird. My uncle worked for same company for 38 years. Same building, same commute, same desk, 38 years. And you know what? That was his smartest financial move because his company had a pension. Every year he stayed, his guaranteed retirement income grew. Leaving would have been a financial suicide. Now, here's the plot twist. If I stayed at my first job for 38 years, that would be a financial suicide. Most companies don't offer pensions anymore. They replaced them with 401ks, which are fine, but they are portable. You can take them with you. This completely changed the incentive structure. My uncle's company said, stay 30 years, we will pay you for life. My company says, we will match 3% of your 401k, and also we might lay you off the next Tuesday if the stock prices dips. Studies show people who change jobs strategically earn about 50% more over their careers than people who stay put. Same work ethic, same talent, different strategies based on different incentives. So, when boomers say kids these days just job hop, they are saying disloyalty. But what's actually happening is rational adaptation. The system stopped rewarding loyalty, so workers stopped giving it. Cause and effect. Simple. Alright, this next one is subtle, but it's probably the most important. My parents' favorite advice: just save your money, be responsible, let it grow in the bank. And I did that. For years, I was proud of my savings account. Then I learned about something called real return, and it changed everything. Real return means, is your money growing faster than prices are rising? When my parents were young, banks paid about 10% interest on savings. Prices were at about 5% a year. So, if they put money in the bank, it actually grew in purchasing power. Saving made you richer. Today, most savings accounts pay around half a percent, but prices are still rising at 3 to 4% a year. Your balance goes up by pennies, but your purchasing power goes down by dollars. It's like filling a bucket with a hole in it. You are pouring water in, but it's draining out faster. Technically, the water level rises, but you are still losing. This is why financial advice changed from you save your money to invest your money. Not because being responsible went out of style, because savings stopped being a wealth building tool and became just an emergency cushion. If you have been feeling guilty about not having huge savings, this is why. The strategy that built your parents' wealth does not work the same way anymore. You need a different approach for a different economy. Okay, the last one, and honestly, this is the scariest. My uncle retired 3 years ago. Know what his retirement planning looked like? He showed up to work for 38 years and his company handled everything else. That was it. That was the plan. And it worked. Now picture me at my job. Same age he was when he started, working just as hard. The difference? Nobody's handling my retirement for me. There's no pension waiting. It's all on me. Think about what actually requires. I need to understand investment accounts, pick the right funds, figure out asset allocation, rebalance annually, project decades into the future, save enough to replace a pension that does not exist anymore. My uncle had to be good at his job. I have to be good at my job and be a part time financial analyst as well. Here's the really scary part. To have the retirement security he has, I need to personally save somewhere between 1 and 2 million dollars. And the timeline matters. Starting in your 20s versus your 30s versus your 40s changes how much you need to save each month by 2 or 3 times. But most people in their 20s are paying off student loans. Most people in their 30s are trying to buy a house. By the time you have breathing room to save aggressively for retirement, you are already behind. This is why you see so much anxiety about retirement in our generation. It's not a paranoia, it's math. Safety net disappeared, and we are still trying to build our own before time runs out. So, here's what I want you to understand. When your parents give you money advice, they are not trying to frustrate you. They are genuinely trying to help you. They are telling you what worked for them. And it did work in their economy. But somewhere between their 20s and your 20s, five massive things changed. Houses went from affordable to out of reach for most young people. College went from something you could work your way through to something that requires massive debt. Company loyalty went from rewarded to penalized. Bank savings went from wealth building to barely keeping up. And retirement went from something your employer handled to something you have to figure out yourself. These are not small adjustments, these are fundamental restructurings of how economic works. So, if you are following your parents' advice and it's not working, you are not broken. The advice is outdated. The good news is, once you understand what changed, you can adapt. You can build strategies that work for the economy you are actually in. That's what we do here on KP Money Talks. We look at how money actually works today, not how it worked 40 years ago. If that's valuable to you, hit subscribe. I break down one money topic every week with real research, no BS, and hopefully a few "oh, that's why" moments. I'm curious, what's the biggest difference between your financial life and your parents' financial life at your age? Drop it in the comments. I'll read all of them, and honestly, I learn from your stories too. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.